Welcome to the video. This one leads directly on from my last video lesson, number 183, where I looked at the bass line from Red House and I kind of showed you what Noel Redding played on the original studio version and the live version from Stockholm, Sweden in 1969. In that lesson we established that Noel Redding on the original version of Red House actually played a guitar that was detuned, and he played a sort of riff that you're more likely to hear on a kind of rhythm guitar, bluesy thing with double stops. But he did play bass when he played live with Jimi Hendrix, and he played a kind of slightly different bass line, so we looked at both of those bass lines. I've had a few people asking me to compare what Noel Redding played on Red House with what Billy Cox played at Woodstock with Jimi Hendrix. For those of you that don't know, Billy Cox was a long-time friend of Jimi Hendrix, and Jimmy really wanted him in the band when he came to London, but that just wasn't to be. But Billy Cox got an opportunity later on when Noel Redding decided that he wanted to quit the band. Billy Cox and Noel Redding's playing styles are very different. For one thing, by his own admission, Noel Redding wasn't really a bass player. He used to play guitar, and he kind of picked up the bass to try and get in the band with Jimmy. Billy Cox sounds a lot more comfortable on bass, and he's definitely got more chops. But that said, I really love the kind of original version of Red House with that original lineup. But also when you see the interplay between Billy Cox and Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, that's fantastic too. So in this lesson I'm going to pick out the main parts of Billy Cox's bass line on Red House at Woodstock. But you can get his entire bass line note for note, or what I can hear of it, on a free PDF. Just click the link below this video in the description, and that's on tab and standard notation. So if you pick that up now, that's useful for the lesson and for running through the whole bass line after the video. We're going to get started with the lesson now, but before we do that, make sure that you subscribe to my Greg Space Shed channel here on YouTube. You can do that by clicking the red subscribe button. If you click the bell, then you'll get notified of all my new lessons as soon as they're released. Jimi Hendrix and Billy Cox detuned for Woodstock. This was quite usual, so they detuned a half step. Well, it's almost a half step, it's just a tiny bit sharper. They just kind of tuned to each other. Okay, so Red House is in B. They played in B, but it actually sounds a half step lower in B flat major. So if you want to play with the Woodstock version, then detune your strings a half step, but you don't need to do that for this lesson. This is the chord progression for Red House. It follows a standard 12-bar blues sequence. So we've got a bar of B7, a quick 4 chains to E7 in the second bar, 2 bars of B7, 2 bars of E7, 2 bars of B7, a bar of F sharp 7, a bar of E7, a bar of B7, and then we've got this kind of turnaround that goes to F sharp 7. Some people get confused with the intro, but that just follows the 12-bar sequence. We start on B with the bass, so he's kind of playing these short Bs. But the bass and drum stops at the beginning of bar 3 and then comes in again for the E7 at bar 5. The riff that Billy Cox uses when he comes back in at bar 5 is a really common blues riff. It's based actually on the dominant 7th arpeggio. Sounds complicated, but it's not. So just start on E. He's kind of playing this pattern. Okay, so if we take that out and just play, he's playing these notes. Okay, that's just an arpeggio. Listen to this. Okay, you've got root, major 3rd, 5th, flat 7, and then the octave. An octave just means 8 notes higher. So we've got E, E, okay? And there he's just going from the flat 7 to the 5th, back to the flat 7th, and to the octave. If you're new to blues and want to work on your blues riff, then getting this pattern down is really important. So what I suggest you do is just practice these dominant 7th arpeggios, okay? Now dominant 7th is just, if you see E dominant 7th, is just E7, okay? It just means it's got that flat 7. Okay, so just try it on E. Okay, F sharp you'll need it for as well for this tune. And B as well. So make sure that you learn those shapes. Now if you look at bar 5 and 6, you can see kind of different combinations of those notes. So bar 5 that we looked at, and then still on E7, bar 6. He's just coming back down, 7th, flat 7th, 5th, 3rd, okay? Then if you look at bar 13, which is the first bar of the first chorus, we've got that on B, this pattern here. Okay, it's the same as E, just on B. And he's got a nice slide, or he kind of slides or bends into it. Okay, so you could just do the whole chorus if you wanted. If you're playing this at a jam night, you could just use that riff on B, E and F sharp, and that would be quite a nice kind of way to play the bass line. Now there's a major difference that I can hear in one bar of the bass line. Look in bar 10, we've got this, E, down to D. Now that's the flat 7, remember up here? But that's an octave lower. Okay, so the chord stays the same on the top, just an E7, but we're going to the 7th here. It's really nice. Sometimes kind of Jimi Hendrix mirrors that. That gives you a really nice effect, and you can see that again in bar 22. So that's something that you can kind of put, it's this kind of stepping down sort of pedal note there. So that's really nice. Another device that Billy Cox uses is he uses a chromatic pattern from the flat 7 up to the octave. Okay, so if we look at bar 16, we've got, okay, so that's just flat 7 and then a normal 7 and then the octave. You use that in lots of places. So that bar 16 there, and then he kind of just bounces back off the B, flat 7 octave, B, flat 7 octave, okay? Okay, and then the next bar, bar 17, we've got that again on E. Okay, and again, that's the same pattern at the end of bar 17, but just an octave lower. Okay, you can also see that in bar 20 on that F7. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing that you can just transfer these ideas to each of the chords starting on B, E and F sharp. Okay, once you've got these kind of ideas, you can use them throughout the bass line like Billy Cox does. And in bar 45, Billy Cox actually plays it twice on the F sharp 7. So, and he plays, I noticed from there, he plays around that part, he plays them really smoothly. I don't know whether he hammers on, but he makes sure he plays those notes really smoothly. Okay, so try that and see if you can play them smoothly. If you look at chorus 5 now, Billy Cox uses the flat 7 throughout this chorus. He kind of uses the octave and then the 7th. So if I play bar 61 and 62, okay, so we've got octave there and then the flat 7 on the E. Okay, bar 63, and then there's all these crazy 16th notes with Jimmy. I can't really hear what he's doing, but it's something like this. So you can hear he just uses this idea the whole time for this chorus. So you'll hear that for a lot of kind of bass lines with Jimi Hendrix as well. Okay, so using that flat 7. So that's definitely a device you can use in your blues bass lines. Look now in bar 69, there are these really nice triplet patterns. Okay, so that whole bar. Okay, so he's kind of going F sharp, E, which is the flat 7, C sharp, F sharp. Okay, practice that slowly. So you start on the 11th fret, and then you got. Okay, what I do is I use in my plucking hand, I use my second finger for the F sharp, and then I rate. Okay, sound really effective fast. So that whole bar. Okay, so triplet patterns in blues bass lines sound really effective. Now, to me, a really important aspect of Billy Cox's bass line is how he articulates the notes. If you don't know what articulation is, it is basically how long or short you play the notes and how you kind of attack the notes. So Billy Cox plays a real mixture of short and long notes. Now, when you're playing a groove in 12/8, which is kind of the same as the shuffle groove, you can play that first note long or short. So I just played it short then, and I play it long. Or short. Now let's look at bar 25 at the beginning of chorus 2. Billy Cox plays it short first, and then he plays it long. So listen to this. So you can see when we go into that second bar, we play it short and then we play it long. Okay, so there's no hard and fast rule here. You just kind of play what you think sounds good. If you're playing it short, it's going to stand out more. If you play it long, you're going to get a smoother line. So in different places, either or will be kind of more effective. So make sure that you think about your articulation on the bass. This applies to playing in all styles of music. It's really important that you think, is it better here if I play notes long or if I play them short? Now, some players have their own style, but it's good to be versatile and to be able to do both. So I'm just going to play now chorus 2, just with a kind of drum beat so you can kind of hear how that sounds. Well, hopefully this video lesson has helped you to kind of see what Billy Cox played on this iconic bass line. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I love all the versions of Red House, really. I like the kind of looseness and the vibe of the original Jimi Hendrix experience, but I also like seeing what Billy Cox did at Woodstock. He's obviously had a real deep connection with Jimi Hendrix, and that kind of comes out in their playing. Don't forget that you can get the free PDF that's got the whole bass line note for note. You can get that by clicking the link below in the descriptions. And don't forget also to subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. If you felt that you got value out of this lesson, you can always buy me a coffee. You can see the details at the bottom of the screen, or the link is below in the description. Also, come and have a look at my website, gbshed.com. I've got a load more resources on there, and you can also see details of my Walk the Blues video course for bass players. If you haven't seen it already, then check out my video lesson on Noel Redding's version of Red House. You can get that by clicking the link up here on the screen. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. Hopefully see you very soon in the next video.